It's all just a bunch of lies. We've lived long enough to see the world change. For those of us over 55, we've witnessed decades of promises made and promises broken, cycles of hope, disappointment, and disillusionment. And as the years pass, one thing becomes clear. Much of what we've been told about life, about success, about happiness, wasn't the truth. If anything, it was a series of carefully crafted lies. Today, I want to have an honest conversation about those lies. I'm not here to overwhelm you with negativity, but to help you see through the veil that's been pulled over our eyes for so many years. We've worked hard, contributed to society, raised families, and now, as we reflect, we might realize we were being manipulated all along. But there's good news. It's not too late to break free. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The consumer trap, making others rich at our expense. For most of our lives, we've been surrounded by a powerful message. You need more to be happy. From a young age, we were taught that success, fulfillment, and even our sense of worth were tied to what we owned. It wasn't just about having enough. It was about having the newest, the best, the most luxurious. Advertisements on TV, magazines, and later the internet constantly reinforce this idea. We were told that the bigger the house, the faster the car, or the latest gadget would somehow complete our lives. But after years of living this way, we've realized the painful truth. It was all a trap. Our push to consume was never really about improving our lives. It was about making someone else rich. Every time we bought that new car, that fancy gadget, or even the expensive clothes, someone at the top was profiting while we were left with an endless desire for more. The happiness they promised through consumption was fleeting, and soon enough we were chasing the next product, the next big thing. The system works by keeping us in a constant state of wanting. We were led to believe that each new purchase would bring lasting satisfaction, but in reality, that satisfaction was always temporary. We'd enjoy the new car for a little while, but soon the shine would fade and we'd be bombarded with ads for something newer and better. This cycle of consumption wasn't designed to make us happy. It was designed to keep us spending. Think about it. How many times were we told that a purchase would bring us joy or elevate our status? Whether it was a new appliance, an upgrade to our home, or the latest fashion trend, these things didn't truly bring lasting happiness. Instead, they distracted us from what really matters: our relationships, our sense of purpose, and the fulfillment that comes from within. Meanwhile, the people behind these products, the advertisers, corporations, and wealthy elites, continued to profit. They knew exactly how to keep us hooked, how to make us feel like we needed more. By convincing us that we were always one purchase away from happiness, they kept us consuming while they grew richer. But now, with the wisdom that comes from experience, we can see through the lie. Happiness was never in the things we owned. It was always in the moments we shared, the connections we built, and the peace we found in the simple things. The more we chased material possessions, the more we realized that true contentment doesn't come from things. It comes from within. So why did we fall into this trap for so long? Part of it is that we were conditioned to believe it. The ads, the culture, the constant messaging made it seem like consumption was the only way to live. But part of it, too, was that the system made it feel like there was no other choice. We were told that our worth was tied to what we owned, that if we didn't keep up with the latest trends, we were somehow falling behind. But now, in this stage of life, we have the opportunity to break free from that mindset. We don't need more stuff to be happy. We don't need to keep feeding into the consumer cycle that has kept us distracted for so long. Instead, we can focus on what truly matters: our health, our relationships, and the time we have left to enjoy the things that bring real meaning to our lives. The next time we're tempted by an ad or a product that promises happiness, let's ask ourselves, who is this really for? Is it for us, Or is it just feeding into a system that profits off our insecurities? The truth is, we don't need to make others rich at our expense anymore. We have the power to choose a simpler, more fulfilling life. One that isn't defined by what we own, but by the love, peace, and connection we cultivate. 2. Work hard and you'll be rewarded, a promise that fell short. If there's one idea that has shaped many of our lives, it's the belief that hard work is the key to everything. We were told from a young age that if we put our heads down, clocked in the hours, and stuck with it, success would come. Security would follow. It was a promise handed down from previous generations, one that carried a sense of certainty. For most of our lives, we did exactly that. We worked, we built our careers, took care of our families, and trusted that the rewards would come: a comfortable retirement, financial security, and peace of mind. But now, as we stand on the other side of that journey, many of us are left wondering, did it all play out the way we were told? Yes, we earned a living. We raised children, bought homes, and saved what we could. But the world around us changed. Pensions that once felt secure are no longer enough to cover rising healthcare costs. Savings that seemed sufficient now stretch thinner than ever. Instead of the peace we were promised, many of us are facing a new set of worries about money, health, and whether the system ever really worked in our favor. The harsh truth is that the system wasn't built to reward us fairly. It was built to keep us working, producing, consuming, and contributing to the wealth of others. We followed the rules, stayed loyal to employers, and believed that if we just worked hard enough, everything would fall into place. But for many of us, the reality is that when it was time for the system to return the favor, it didn't hold up its end of the deal. The safety net that we thought would catch us in our golden years feels more like a fragile thread. Does that mean our hard work was meaningless? Absolutely not. There is immense value in what we've done, but perhaps it's not the kind of value the system promised us. The true reward wasn't in the material wealth we hoped for. It's in the resilience we built, the sacrifices we made, and the relationships we've nurtured along the way. We are more than our jobs, more than our productivity. We are the sum of all the love, wisdom, and strength we've accumulated over the years. Think about the lives we've touched: our children, our friends, our communities. While the system may not have rewarded us the way we expected, the legacy we've created in the hearts and minds of those around us is a reward that no economic downturn or corporate policy can take away. We contributed more than just labor, we contributed meaning. That's something the world cannot measure in dollars and cents. And now, as we reflect on the decades behind us, we have the opportunity to redefine success. It's no longer about working harder or climbing the ladder. It's about appreciating the richness of the life we've lived. It's about understanding that the true reward lies not in accumulating more things, but in the relationships we've built and the lessons we've learned. Maybe the promise of a comfortable retirement turned out to be a half truth, but that doesn't mean our hard work was for nothing. We have earned the right to live fully, without guilt or regret, knowing that our value is not tied to what we have in the bank, but to the love and wisdom we continue to share. 3. We're programmed to believe we have no choice. One of the most powerful lies we've been told throughout our lives is that we have no real choice, that the world runs on forces far bigger than us, and that we're just small players in a game we can't control. We were taught to believe that we're at the mercy of the economy, the government, or the institutions around us, whether it was the political climate, corporate decisions, or societal expectations. We were often left feeling as though our ability to shape our own lives was limited. That's just the way it is, they'd say. But as we look back, we must ask, was that ever really true? Did we truly have no say? Or was that an illusion designed to keep us compliant? Over the years, the idea that we're powerless has been used to control us. It's easier to manage people who don't believe they can make a difference. When we feel like we don't have a choice, we stop questioning the system. We stop pushing for more, stop fighting for better, and start accepting whatever comes our way. But the truth is, we've always had a choice. Maybe not in every circumstance, but certainly in how we respond to those circumstances. The idea that we're powerless is a myth, one designed to keep us stuck in roles that benefit others more than ourselves. Even now, we can reclaim that power by recognizing that we still have control over the most important thing, our own mindset. Modern psychology talks about this in terms of the law of cognition, which says that what we think shapes what we believe, and what we believe influences how we feel and act. If we believe we have no choice, then we'll continue to act as though we're stuck. We'll stay in situations that don't serve us, accept narratives that don't reflect our values, and settle for less than what we deserve. But the moment we start to shift our thoughts, everything begins to change. We may not always be able to change the world around us, but we can always change how we think about it. And that shift in thinking opens up new possibilities. It's the difference between feeling trapped by the system and realizing that we have the power to live on our own terms. Even in the face of challenges, we can choose to focus on what's within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and our ability to shape our daily lives. Think about how we consume information. We have a choice in what we let into our minds. We can decide whether we want to be bombarded by fear-driven news or to spend time with things that bring us peace and positivity. We can choose to be consumed by worry or to focus on the relationships and activities that bring joy and fulfillment. Choice is a form of freedom, and it's one that no external force can take from us. In many ways, realizing that we still have choices, even in our later years, is incredibly empowering. It means we're not victims of the system or mere players in someone else's game. We're the authors of our own stories, and the pen has always been in our hands. At this stage in life, we have the clarity and wisdom to see through the illusions we've been sold. And we can use that wisdom to make choices that reflect our values, our desires, and our priorities. So let's stop believing the lie that we're powerless. We have more control than we've been led to believe, and that control starts with recognizing that our thoughts and actions are our own. The world may try to convince us otherwise, but the truth is, we are always in control of our own minds. And with that, we can shape the reality we live in. It's never too late to reclaim that power and start making choices that lead us toward the life we truly want. 4. Fear and negativity. How the world keeps us distracted. If there's one emotion that's been used against us more than any other, it's fear. From the time we were young, we've been taught to fear the future, whether it was the Cold War, financial crashes, or warnings of societal collapse. But as we look back, we can see that much of that fear was exaggerated or misplaced. What's worse, fear has been used as a tool to distract us from the things that really matter. The media thrives on fear. You can't turn on the TV without being bombarded by stories of chaos, disaster, and uncertainty. Whether it's the latest political scandal, economic crisis, or health scare, the goal is to keep us on edge, worried about what's coming next. And when we're in that constant state of anxiety, we stop thinking clearly. We become easy to manipulate. Fear has a way of paralyzing us, keeping us focused on worst-case scenarios instead of the possibilities that life still offers. But here's something important to remember. Fear sells. The more afraid we are, the more we tune in, the more we consume, the more we're likely to buy something that promises us safety or peace of mind. Whether it's a news program, a politician, or a product, they all profit from keeping us in a state of worry. It's not just the media, though. Even in our daily lives, fear creeps in. We worry about our health, our finances, and what the future holds for our children and grandchildren. And those worries are valid. Life is uncertain, and challenges will always come our way. But we have to ask ourselves, how much of that fear is actually helping us? Think back to some of the biggest moments in your life. How often did fear make things worse? How many times did worrying about something rob you of peace, only to find out later that it wasn't as bad as you thought? Fear often magnifies problems, making them seem larger and more insurmountable than they actually are. The truth is, fear is a distraction. It keeps us focused on what might go wrong rather than on what we can do to make things right. It blinds us to the good that's still happening around us. While the news might tell us the world is falling apart, we know from our own lives that there are still so many moments of joy, connection, and hope. Every day, there are people helping each other, families coming together, and communities working to make things better. Take a moment to reflect on how much of your day is shaped by fear. Do you find yourself watching the news, feeling more anxious and unsettled afterward? Do you let that fear dictate the decisions you make? Because if we're not careful, fear becomes a habit. And before we know it, we've spent years letting it control us rather than living the way we truly want to. Mother Teresa once famously said she wouldn't attend an anti war rally, but she would attend a pro peace rally. It's a matter of where we put our focus. When we focus on what's wrong, we magnify it. But when we choose to focus on the good, on what's working, on what's possible, we empower ourselves to see solutions and create positive change. So here's the truth: the world is not as dark as it's made out to be. There is always something worth celebrating, even in the hardest times. We have more power than we're led to believe, and that power starts with how we choose to see the world. We can choose to turn off the fear machine, to stop letting negativity dominate our thoughts, and to focus on the things that truly matter: our relationships, our purpose, and the simple joys that life brings, no matter how small. At this stage of life, we've earned the right to peace of mind. We've lived through enough to know that while challenges will always be there, we are resilient. We've faced storms before and we've come out stronger. Now is the time to remind ourselves of that strength, to choose faith over fear, and to reclaim the peace that fear has tried to steal from us for so long. 5. The marketing machine: how we've been manipulated without knowing it. For decades, we've been told that we're making choices: what we buy, how we live, and what we prioritize. But the truth is, many of those choices were never really ours. Behind every product we've ever bought, every ad we've seen, and every decision we thought was ours, there's been a machine working tirelessly to influence our behavior. It's called marketing. And over the years, it has become one of the most powerful forces shaping our lives. Think about it. When we were young, ads were simple: a catchy jingle on the radio, a colorful billboard, maybe a commercial on the TV trying to convince us that a particular brand of cereal would make our mornings better. But today, marketing has evolved into something far more invasive. It's no longer just about what you see, it's about what companies know about you. They know what you search for online, what you buy, where you go, and even how you spend your time. And all that information is used to subtly manipulate your decisions without you even realizing it. In the past, when we bought something, we made a decision based on what we thought we needed or wanted. But today's marketing strategies are designed to make us feel like we're missing out, like there's always something newer, better, or more necessary. They play on our emotions, our fears, and even our insecurities. And here's the worst part: they've made it so seamless that we don't even see it happening. Take the example of free apps or online games that many of us or our families use. When we were younger, buying something meant paying for it up front, like a new car or a television. But now, many things are marketed as free, only to hook you in and slowly convince you to spend money over time. Whether it's upgrading to remove ads, buying digital items for a game, or paying for a subscription. These small purchases add up. Companies realized they could make far more by convincing us to spend in small, incremental ways, often without us realizing how much we're giving away. The truth is, we've been exploited. Our habits, our preferences, our lives have been studied and sold to the highest bidder. Every time we use a free app, visit a website, or swipe our credit card, we're giving away bits of ourselves to companies who want to know exactly how to market to us better. It's all about keeping us spending, keeping us consuming, and keeping us believing that we need more than we actually do. But it doesn't have to be this way. As we get older, we gain a clearer perspective on what really matters. We can see through the tactics that once felt invisible. We've spent enough time on this earth to know that we don't need every new gadget or luxury to find fulfillment. True happiness isn't found in the latest phone model or a shiny new car. It's found in the connections we make, the experiences we've lived, and the love we share with others. So, let's take a step back and recognize how we've been manipulated. Let's stop letting companies decide what we need and start focusing on what truly brings us joy and peace. We are more than consumers. We are human beings with wisdom, dignity, and the power to decide what's truly important in our lives. The next time you see an ad promising happiness, success, or fulfillment with the purchase of a product, ask yourself, who really benefits from this? Is it me or is it them? The more we take back control of our choices, the more we can live lives that aren't defined by what we own, but by who we are. 6. Reclaiming your worth. The lie of irrelevance. One of the most damaging lies we've been told as we age is that our time has passed, that our worth diminishes with each year that goes by, and that somehow we become irrelevant. Society has a way of making older generations feel like we're simply here to observe while the younger folks take the reins. But let me tell you, that couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that our experiences, our wisdom, and our perspectives are invaluable. After living through decades of history, changes, and personal growth, we've acquired something that no amount of technology or youthful energy can replace: deep, lived experience. We've seen what works and what doesn't. We've faced challenges and come out the other side stronger. We've loved, lost, learned, and found meaning in ways that only a lifetime can teach. You see, the notion that the older generation should step aside is not just a lie, it's a disservice to the younger generations. They need us more than ever, whether they realize it or not. We've lived through wars, economic recessions, social movements, and technological revolutions. We've built families, careers, and communities. We know what it means to persevere through difficult times, and we know that wisdom isn't something you can find in a book or on the internet. But the world often makes us feel like we've lost our voice, like our opinions and insights no longer matter. That's not just a lie, it's a trap. The truth is, our voices are more necessary now than ever, whether it's guiding a grandchild, contributing to a conversation in our community, or sharing the lessons we've learned with the younger generation. We still have the power to shape the world around us. And here's something to think about. Your worth isn't tied to what you do anymore, or how much you can produce. It's tied to who you are and the wisdom you've accumulated. As we get older, we're given the chance to step out of the rat race, to reflect, and to redefine what truly matters. Our value lies in the richness of our stories, the guidance we can offer, and the resilience we embody. So let's stop believing the lie that we're no longer needed. You are still here for a reason, and your purpose hasn't faded with time. Every conversation you have, every piece of advice you offer, every small act of kindness you share has the potential to leave a profound impact. Your legacy is not finished. It's still unfolding. Remember, you are not a shadow of your former self. You are a beacon of experience insight, and strength. You are as relevant now as you've ever been, and the world is a better place because of the path you've walked. The choice is yours to keep walking it with pride, purpose, and the understanding that your value remains untouchable. In closing, it's important to recognize that the lies we've been told throughout our lives don't define us. Whether it's the lie of consumerism, the false promises of hard work, or the fear that tries to hold us back, we have the power to see through them and choose a different path. We've spent a lifetime being told what to think, what to buy, and how to live. But now, in this season of life, we can choose something different. We can choose to reclaim our power, to live with intention, and to find peace in knowing that the truth was within us all along. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.